Good day, viewers. This is TechMag TV News. My name is Stephanie Chuta, and these are the headlines. Zimbabwe removes charges for national IDs. Marondera serial killer cases rise to 23. Zimbabwe is facing a food crisis according to WFP. And now in our top story, Zimbabwean government has removed charging for national identification documents. This after Home Affairs and Cultural Heritage Minister Kazembe scrapped off charging associated with acquiring national identifications. Kazembe made an announcement that identity documents and birth certificates are now being issued for free after government scrapped the payment of fees for the critical documents during the ongoing mobile registration blitz. He said the free registration regime comes into effect immediately. The national mobile registration exercise started on the 1st of April and is scheduled to continue until the 30th of September. The exercise is meant to help clear up the backlog caused by COVID-19 period pandemic, during which insurance of the documents froze because of lockdowns. Kazembe said the removal of fees was meant to ensure that no one is excluded. And now in our other news, charges against the Marondera serial rapist and killer have risen to 23 after Harare magistrate Eukai Tsuda added 3 more counts of murder yesterday. Bright Zantali, 30, was remanded into custody on the April the 29th pending incitement. It is alleged that on July the 17th, 2020, around 7 p.m., Zantali approached the now deceased female Priscilla Chidakwa, who was 24 and who was also a sex worker, and offered to pay her $10 for the whole night. He then lured her to Donnybrook Racecourse in Mafuku, Harare, where he raped her once before strangling her and threw her body in a trench. Her corpse was discovered a day later by a passerby who was walking back home from church and reported the matter to police. On the second count, on December the 7th, 2021, at around 1 p.m., the accused approached Manyana Chisora of Rua under the guise that he was looking for a piece of land to rent, where he went into her house to sign a lease agreement, and then Zantali went to rape the deceased and murdered her by striking her 3 times with the back of an axe. He also stole her valuables. The deceased daughter found the lifeless body of her mother in the bedroom. She alerted the aunt and the matter was reported to the police in Rua. On the third charge, court papers stated that sometime in December 2021, Spiwe Nyamoto was at the Double J nightclub in Mavuku, where she was approached by Zantali, who hired her for the night. The pair agreed to go near Mavuku sewerage ponds, where he raped her and stabbed her to death. Zantali stole some cash from her before disappearing from the scene, and her body was thrown into the sewerage pond. Her body was discovered floating in the sewage by a passerby on December the 26th of 2021. When the police went to scene, 2 cell phones which linked Zantali to the murder were then discovered. The World Food Programme has warned of an impending food crisis in the country after global and regional food prices spiked upward following Russia's invasion of Ukraine. WFP said most households in southern African countries have seen their purchasing power severely reduced to the effects of the conflict, which is pushing up food prices across the globe. WFP said Russia and Ukraine supply 20% of maize to global markets. Zimbabwe's economy grew 7.4% in 2021, and Finance Minister Mutuli Ncube expects it to grow by 5.5% this year. However, WFP says economic growth will be affected by the country's ability to address new food problems. The WFP urged government to protect the most valuable people in Zimbabwe from the effects of the impending food crisis and to strengthen food security and nutrition. Last week, the Consumer Council of Zimbabwe said there was an increase of 8.2% in the family food basket of 6, which was pegged at 78,191.39 cents in January, but rose to 92,192.89 cents at the end of March 2022. Land and Agricultural Deputy Minister Vangelis Haritatos told Newsday that Russia-Ukraine war had affected global food supplies, which have prompted government to work on improving its food supply chains. Government said the country saw a 36% increase in agricultural production last year. Economist Prosper Chitambara said given the recent fuel price hikes, prices of foodstuffs had gone up, and this would make it difficult for ordinary citizens to afford the country's staple food, mealie meal. A survey by Newsday yesterday showed that the price of a 10 kg bag of mealie meal increased from 465 bond in January to 1,159 currently, while a 2 kg packet of flour, which cost 245 bond in January, now costs 459. And 2-liter cooking oil now costs 1,179 from 984 in March. Prices of cars are likely to shoot through the roof after government on Friday introduced regulations forcing importers to pay 50% of duty in hard currency. In a notice in the government gazette last Friday, Finance Minister Mthuli Ncube said the balance will be paid in local currency at the interbank rate. Government departments, however, continue to pay full duty in local currency. The move is now part of measures Ncube has introduced in a bid for citizens to adopt the use of laundering Zimbabwean dollar, reeling from the parallel market rates that have been rendered in almost worthless since reintroduction a few years ago. This move is also known as Statutory Instrument 72A of 2022, an amendment of Statutory Instrument 25-2A of 2018. In June 2019, government scrapped the multi-currency regime that has been in use since 2009. Inflation, however, has continued to erode the value of the local currency, stoking fears that hyperinflation era that led to the collapse of the currency in 2008 may return. And now in our regional news, 14 suspects have been arrested in connection with the murder of Zimbabwe national Elvis Nyati in Diepsloot earlier this month. Police Minister Bheki Cele and Home Affairs Minister Aaron Motsoaledi visited the area following the killing and protests. The two ministers promised to embark on a joint operation to weed out undocumented foreign nationals and fight crime in Diepsloot. ANC-NEC to hand over donations to flood victims. The ANC-NEC is set to visit KwaZulu-Natal on Friday to deliver donations to flood victims. The party has set up drop-off centers at all regional and provincial offices. The party is also calling for a national day of mourning. And now in our international news, one was killed after police fired live bullets at protesters in Sri Lanka. Footage of police opening fire in the central town of Ramabukana has been widely shared on social media. Police say that they used minimum force to disperse protesters, but many have asked why live bullets were used. The incident has been condemned by the UN representative to Sri Lanka as well as the US and EU envoys. It comes as the nation is grappling with its worst economic crisis since independence from Britain in 1948. Tens of thousands of demonstrators have taken to the streets since Sri Lanka ran out of money for vital imports, which has seen the prices of essential commodities skyrocket and caused acute shortages of fuel, medicine, and electricity. Presidents are demanding the resignation of President Gotabaya Rajapaksa as they blame him for the crisis and the policies and his refusal to quit. There were protesters in a number of areas on Tuesday after Sri Lanka's main fuel retailer put prices up to nearly 65% increase. The prices of essential food items like wheat and flour also increased on Tuesday. Thousands of angry motorists and bus drivers were burning tires and blocking nearby highways linking the capital Colombo with the city of Kandy. At least 3 of the injured protesters are said to be in critical condition. A man who died was likely to have been shot, says Miri Panjaniri, director of the Kangal Teaching Hospital. He told Reuters news agency. The authorities said the crowd threw stones and other objects at police, injuring a number of them, but many asked why live bullets were deemed an appropriate response. And now in our tech news, Netflix loses subscribers for the first time in 10 years. The number of Netflix subscribers has fallen for the first time in more than a decade. The streaming company has lost about 200,000 members in the first 3 months of the year, the company said on Tuesday. The declines came after the firm raised prices in key markets including the US and UK while pulling out of Russia. But Netflix warned there are more losses that are coming as it hinted it will start to crack down on accounts sharing as it pushes up sign up new members. It estimates that 100 million households are breaking the rules by sharing passwords. Luke Shaw, who writes the Screen Time newsletter for Bloomberg, told the BBC that the password sharing has been an issue for Netflix for a long time, with the company feeling like it is trying to identify an area of potential growth, with them trying to curb password sharing in the past and having a very hard time. This has been TechMag TV News. Thank you for watching. Please share, like, and subscribe as we keep bringing you more top stories. We'll see you next time.